I play a lot better when I'm sober. I make much better decisions, as I think most people do when they're sober. As a DJ, you should want to play more hours. Like, I feel like I'd come alive when I played more than 3 hours. I ended up playing 14 hours once at Space. Yeah.
You weren't sober for that one.
Yeah,
right?
I was not sober. I think I couldn't even speak by the end of it. John Summit posted something about minimal. There was a bit of a debate going on about what is minimal, and it was just like, oh, is anyone of those guys playing minimal? I don't think so. I see 4 policemen coming in, and then they goes to me, sorry, we're gonna have to put you in handcuffs, mate. And I went, me? I was like, what have I done? It was like, we've got reason to believe you're distributing drugs in this club.
And I've always wanted to be able to like sit down and just talk to cool people. You know what I mean? No, it doesn't matter if you're a content creator, an artist, fucking anything.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, one day my brother and I are in Boston drinking tequila, and we're like, let's do a podcast, just me and you, and drink.
Tequila chats are always great.
Yeah,
like
tequila
that,
chats,
yeah.
you know? So I was like, tequila? Oh, we're good? We're rolling? All right. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of TSL Time Podcast, Miami Music Week specials. Today we're here with a very special guest, Rossi. How we doing, brother?
Very good. Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you for coming, brother.
Buzzing.
All good?
Yeah, very good. I'm buzzing. We literally just flew in, landed, like 4 hours ago? Well, not even, like 3 hours ago. Went straight to the gym. I did just a little 15-minute, just because so I could do something. Just because, yeah, I'm sort of in a good zone of like working out and touring at the moment. So like,
And health.
Just finished 75 hard. So
Cheers to
cheers to that. Yeah.
No better way to kick
good.
off the pod of the
Salute.
trip.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's amazing. I would have never guessed that. I just don't get how you could do that. You've been doing shows and stuff the last 75 days, haven't you?
That's really good. So I went to Australia, I was in Asia, and then I've been doing like sort of back-to-back weekends in Europe. But it's surprisingly easy once you get going. Mm-hmm. It's just about discipline. My problem is eating. I really have an appetite. And when food's in front of me, I will eat it. And even I want to live in a world where like if you're at a restaurant and someone's not finished their chips or something like that and no one's touched them, I'll eat them. Like I'll just, because it's just food. I don't know why. I feel like my mum always tells me you look like you're eating as if it's your last meal, but I'm kind of proud of that. But it's not been good for my sort of fluctuation in weight, especially when I start touring like busy. Because when the alcohol leads to the bad food, which leads to everything else and your tiredness. And so I wanted to start the year just afresh before the summer, just to see if I could tour in a healthy way. And it's been so much more rewarding. I think I play better, like sober, and like from eating better, feeling good. I'm less tired, making music, feeling more positive. So yeah, all in all, it's actually been like a really rewarding process. And yeah, it is hard. And like, it's finding the time to fit the workouts in. But when you give yourself that like dedication to, okay, I'm going to do 2 workouts a day, like you have to then really budget your time and like work around that as a schedule. So it makes you more accountable. So I've actually found it a lot more rewarding. So it's been great. And I feel good.
That's fucking
Going
amazing.
into Music Week feeling good is a great thing because this is the real marathon. And I've experienced this marathon. So yeah, let's see how we feel at the end of the week.
That should be interesting because, you're going from one extreme to the other, but I'm sure, coming straight out of it, I mean, there's been times where I go, full on monk mode, if you want to call it, like 75 hard.
Yeah.
And then I just end up going on a bender and it's not the best afterwards.
Yeah, because that's why this week I'm going to very much pace myself. Like I think stick to maybe not drinking at shows until the last one. The last one's back to back with Josh and Ben at Space, closing Solid Grooves on Saturday. So that one maybe we'll let loose a little bit more. But the ones before that, I just want to like keep a good pace throughout the week because we've done Music Week before and smashed it on the first night, and then you're just like chasing the rest of the week, and that's a really tough place to be in. But yeah, feeling good and excited to be in Miami again. I love this city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've fallen in love with it.
Really?
Yeah, I always say whenever we come back here, I could live here. It's such a cool place. The weather's amazing. And like I've got a lot of amazing people that I've met out here that I'm now like really close with. So it doesn't feel like I've come far away whenever I come here. It sort of feels like a bit like a home because I've been here so many times. So I love it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I love it here too. I've been here 24 years and...
Where did you grow up?
Here.
Oh,
I was born
Oh,
here.
there you go. Are you 24?
Yeah,
Oh,
24.
there you go.
How old are you?
I'm 30. I just turned
okay.
I'm 30 in December. So.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
That's a good way to kick off the dirty 30s, huh?
Exactly. I had like, I blew out on my 30th, like, by God. Like, yeah, I sent it on my 30th. I had a party with all my friends at home. And it was a nice way to see all the people I don't usually get to see. And I just had an absolute blowout in the garden. It was amazing. But then I think I drank sort of like a year's worth in one night. That then I was like, I don't need to drink again for a while. So I think, yeah, I sent it on 30 to now kind of be a bit more sensible.
As you should, though. I think, 30.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, and I've been excited to turn 30. My mum always says to me that the 30s were the best years of her life because I feel like you get to a point where you start to really know who you are, what you want. I feel like in your 20s, you're just figuring it all out. But I don't know. Like, yeah, I feel like I'm in a good place at 30, enjoying life.
That's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
High spirits.
Yeah, high spirits, positive. Yeah.
That's the best thing, And I mean, at least for me, from having a bit of experience, just being in that extreme of like touring for a month, I feel like the 75 hard is actually a great thing because sometimes you just gotta, when you want to like make a quick habit change, you kind of just gotta go the restrictive approach. And I'm all about instead of restricting, moderation.
Yeah.
But in order to understand moderation, you have to restrict for a bit.
Yeah, I think I needed that. I needed to go, right, like, I love challenges. Do you know what I mean? I like setting myself a challenge that's away from my career or anything that's like just personal to me. So I think I needed to set myself this challenge of like being really strict to then now I can just dial it back. And now it already feels like when I landed here, the first thing I thought about, I really wanted to go and have a workout because it's now a bit ingrained in my daily process. So I think it's a good way to start something is like go really deep into it and then now you can start pulling it back. But let's see where I am in 5 months' time when summer's kicking. Like, hopefully I'm doing all right. And I'm saying I'm going to stick to it, but we'll do a check back in and see if I've grown the tire around my chin again. Because when I tour, that starts to grow. That's the thing. So I'm happy that's not there at the moment.
Yeah, you're looking good, bro. You're looking lean,
Thanks,
healthy.
man. So do you. You're great.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
How's it impacted, your approach with music when producing or when you're playing different shows?
Yeah, it's been good. Like, as in, I think I play like I said earlier, I play a lot better when I'm sober. I make much better decisions, as I think most people do when they're sober. But as in, like, I think when you get drunk and you play, you can just start at the end of the set to go and play the songs that you think everyone wants to hear or the ones that you think are going to be the big slammers. That's all right. Instead of playing the songs that like are really testing people or the new ones that you think might catch them out, you sort of start to play the ones that you know are going to work. And you say, play the same sort of set that you did a few weeks ago. So I feel like when I've been sober, I've been enjoying it more. And I've just been more clever on the decks and actually pushed it more. And I think that's helping my career. I think that's such an important thing as a DJ to really feel comfortable to step outside the comfort zone. And I actually don't think I do that when I'm a bit fucked.
That's super interesting. That's exactly what I was going to ask you before you finished saying that is you would think that when you're buzzing off some drinks, partying, you'd be more of a risk taker. But what it sounds like is that you kind of just take a more comforting approach where you kind of just...
Yeah, because I think I'm thinking less, which is in a weird way like worse because I'm just going, all right, I'll just play that song that I know really works. Whereas like, I think when I'm sober and I play, I'm actually going, all right, how can I like test this audience? How can I challenge them? How can I educate them? Like, especially when I first started coming to America, that was like an important thing for me playing out here compared to playing at home because like, I found that like, at first, when I first started coming out here and playing like the sets I would play in the UK, it wasn't as well received because people didn't get it at that point. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. So then I had this like sort of process of DJing, which was called like relate, educate. I play one tune that relates, where it might be a vocal that people get into, and then I'll smash with a tune that they definitely won't know that would be new, but it's mixed in with something that they might understand, and then you're introducing them to a new sound. That's how I started working, but I think the relate, educate went out the window whenever I was getting a bit fucked and I was just doing some like, simple, crazy stuff that I would always do. So yeah, I've been enjoying, playing sober. But I don't know, like you do have your fun in your moments when you're having it, but it's been a good test this year.
Do you see that happening amongst your peers and other people in the industry as well? that are kind of wanting to become, put health a little bit more at the forefront and stuff? Because I feel like it's becoming a bit.
Yeah.
It's really starting to bleed across a lot of people. I think
like the let's say the role of a DJ image has changed so much, purely probably because of social media. Like DJs back in the day notoriously got absolutely fucked. That seemed like it was their job. And like that was just a cool thing. And I speak to Enzo Siragusa, who's like a legend to me. And he was like, it's completely different now. Like, but I think it's because people are taking it more like it is an actual career path. And it's not going to be sustainable for you if you keep up like getting on it all the time, because we're touring so much. So yeah, like you see people like Josh and stuff like that, like constantly working out, and but he's like a freak of a machine.
He's
like,
a freak.
Yeah, it's not like there's people who are fit and then there's Josh. And that's what I was saying when I was cooking with him on Monday. I was like, I thought I was getting good at 5Ks, and then he posts something. I'm like, fuck my life. Like, why am I even trying? But I do think, yeah, the career sort of thing of a DJ has changed, and people are taking it more seriously. Like, if I'm going to sustain this forever, that's what I felt. I was like, after 2-3 years of properly sending it, you go, Jesus Christ, I feel like I'm already turning 40. I'm turning 30. So that was like my reality check. And I think, yeah, a lot of DJs are. Some DJs aren't, but, we're DJs. You're constantly surrounded by all sorts. So
yeah,
crazy stuff's going to happen.
The world of entertainment, peak entertainment.
Yeah.
You want people to fucking
yeah.
be in cloud nine, living,
And
loving.
Also, like, it sounds as if I'm going, oh, it's so like I love it, and it's great to party. And
of
stuff
course,
like that,
of course.
You know what I mean? It's just I started to find you need to, like, in moderation, basically.
Yeah.
You need to enjoy it.
I'm 100% with you. You know what I mean? I love to fucking drink. I love to party. I could stay up fucking.
Well, this is like why I like
listening
your
to dance.
output, because you like sort of say, yeah, go for it, but make sure, like my dad always says, if you hoot with the owls, you got to sing with the larks. So it's like if you're gonna send it, get up the next day, give it just as much to the beneficial side of it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, just because you love to fucking send it and get crazy doesn't mean you can't, flip the switch and see what it's like to put that same energy into locking in on your health.
Yeah.
And everyone should do it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
The feeling is ridiculous.
Yeah, I've been loving it.
It's fucking great.
Yeah.
So, talk to us a bit about, you grew up where in the UK?
I grew up in a place called Essex, if you know Essex.
I've heard of it, but
Essex
I don't know much about it.
I actually am honest about being from Essex, but Essex gets a bad rep. There's a TV show in the UK, it's called The Only Way is Essex. Imagine, like, how would you compare it? Like Jersey Shore, Geordie Shore, there's the thing called The Only Way is Essex. And it's like the worst representation of where I'm from. So when you say you're from Essex, they're like, oh, you're an Essex boy, are you? Like, people talk like this, and they're fake, where the girls are wearing loads of fake tan, and it's not a good show and a good representation of Essex. But Essex is a lovely place. Where I live is just on the border of East London and Essex. So I grew up there, and yeah, like I still live around there. I love it. It's a lovely place to live.
Cold right now?
Not too bad at the moment. It was cold at the start of the year, but I was away a lot. That's why I love being a DJ, because you kind of skip the bad months and you just follow the sun. But the weather's really good at the moment. We've actually had a good few weeks.
Springtime.
Yeah,
I was in London during August of 2019. It was actually my first semester ever of university. I spent 4 or 5 months in London. And before I went there, everyone was like, it's the worst weather in the world. It's
Isn't that
so
a good
gloomy.
year weather?
Bro, it was fucking incredible.
Yeah, that was like
it's a great year.
and that's the thing. Yeah, not to be biased, but when you get British summertime weather, London is such an amazing city to be in when the weather's good. But everyone's got their tops off. Like, as soon as there's a tiny little bit of sun in the UK, even if it's freezing, everyone's got their tops out trying to get a tan, like British ways. But I love living in London. I don't think I'll live anywhere else. I've had thoughts about it, but I don't think anything will pull me away.
Maybe Miami, you said.
Maybe Miami. Miami's the only closest city I've ever thought to ever move in, just because I love it. And the weather here is just incredible.
Yeah, well, I had a fantastic time there, and that was my first year of college, and I remember going to a lot of good fucking parties.
Yeah.
Ministry of Sound. I went to Printworks, Fabric.
What was your favorite club you think you went to?
Well, so I was 18 when I got to London.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know that there was that law that went into play where you couldn't go to like certain clubs.
Oh, what? As of a certain age?
Yes, you have to be 19.
Fine,
and so I
yeah,
turned
yeah.
19 while I was there in my last month. And I went to the 25th year anniversary of Fabric with Jamie Jones.
Oh, amazing. I feel like I was there.
Were you?
Maybe, yeah.
You might have been there.
I might have been there, actually. I remember going to see Jamie at Fabric around that time. We might have been there the same night.
That's nuts.
What did you think of Fabric?
Unbelievable. And, been back a few times since, but the sound system in there is special.
Fabric's a special club to me because I was fortunate enough to start going there from like a young age, probably like 16, because my dad actually knew the owner really well. So he would let me go in and get me in on like Saturday nights, and I would just go there. It was like one of the first clubs I ever went to. And I used to go there religiously on Saturdays and watch like Craig Richards, like all the Terry Francis, all the Residents. That's where I really got a taste for really good house music. And like, so then I've had a really special relationship with Fabric over the years. So I did my first all night long there. So like 8-hour set in room 1. We were meant to do it in room 2 and it sold so well that we ended up going into room 1. And that was, what year was that? 2023. So like, I've just had a strong relationship with that club, and like, yeah, it's been great for history for me. So I think it's somewhere everyone needs to experience when they go to London. They've just redone the dance floor as well. They added in like more sound underneath it, because there's like,
Oh, really?
yeah, they like pad down the dance floor so that you get like an even better experience of sound. So there's like booth traps, like bass traps underneath the floor. So like,
Holy fuck.
yeah, they design it. It's like specifically designed for that room. So like the sound when you stand in the middle of Fabric, it's kind of like stereo. Have you ever been stereo in Montreal?
No.
Stereo in Montreal is similar. It's like one of the best sound systems I've ever heard. You can stand in the middle of it and it's as if you've got headphones on. It's like phenomenal.
That's what I noticed. I could have conversations inside of Fabric and this music was still so crisp and great.
That's a good sound system.
That's
like,
a
a
good
good sound
fucking
system shouldn't be blowing your ears away. It should actually, you could have a conversation. It's the same as like Sunwaves in Romania.
Haven't been there, but that's on the list.
That place is insane. Like, and the same thing, the sound system is so good, but you could just have a conversation on the dance floor. So yeah, I think sound is the most important thing of a rave. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Burst.
Talk to me a little bit about your dad, friends with the Fabric owner. It seems like you got some cool, supportive fucking parents.
Yeah, I've had very supportive parents, especially my dad. I talk about my dad a lot on like podcasts and things like that. Like my dad is notoriously mental, and his nickname when I was younger, well, not when I was young, when he was young, was Chaos. So like wherever he would go, he would cause chaos. So he brought me to Ibiza for the first time when I was 16. Like showed me the ropes of raving, if you will. Took me to my first music con, like. Showed me the ropes of Zoo Project in Ibiza. So my dad was always pushing Ibiza, but I wasn't trying to be a DJ at the time. I was trying to be an actor. But he'd always push this sound to me. And then when I said to him, I really want to try giving DJing a go, he was like, go for it. Like you've always got to follow your dreams. He's always like said that to me. And so has my mum. And so like they've always been supportive, but nah, my dad is just a hilarious person. Now he like comes to rave. So he came on tour with me as a tour manager for the weekend. So we actually, basically, he just has always wanted to go to South America. So I had this string of gigs in Colombia, Peru, and Uruguay for a weekend. And I was like, Dad, why don't you tour manage me for the weekend? And he was like, Via Brazil, yeah. So we had basically, I gave my dad the full experience of what it's like to be a DJ. Like the travel was nuts. Like we went to Brazil for like 6 hours in the airport. He bought the football shirt. He was like, I've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, fucking done it. Like, but it was an incredible experience to share that with my dad, because after so many years of working hard as a DJ, I think he really got to see what it is to be a DJ, which is like a lot of flying, a lot of waiting around in airports, not a lot of sleeping, and like meeting so many people all at once. I think it really overwhelmed him, but he loved it. Like in all the clubs, everyone looked after him. It's like, my dad's 64 and he was in the middle of the dance floor in Peru, like, I've met this geezer, da, da, da. And we had this crazy story where you guys have just been to Colombia, right?
Medellin.
Okay, so when we went to Colombia, we were really late. There was a delay for the flight on our connection. We had a really terrible day of traveling. And then the promoter goes to me, you're going to be running late, but we want you to get here on time for the set. He's like, if you wouldn't mind, I don't know how you could do this. He's like, but a good way to skip customs is if you get in a wheelchair. Like, if you get in a wheelchair off of
I saw so many people fucking doing that.
Okay, so yeah.
Everyone was going in the handicap line, and I was like, next time I come here, I'm putting on a fucking...
Okay, so then this is what I said. So I was sat next to my dad, and I was like, right, Dad, we've got to get to this gig. And I was like, would you mind, like, faking that you've hurt your leg or something like that. Bearing in mind, he walked on the plane fine. And so my dad just took it upon himself to be like the actor that he always wanted to be. He's walking down like limping, like going, oh. And then he's like pointing at the chair, gets in the chair, and then like the guy goes to move his leg in the steering. So my dad's going, like that, like full on acting. I was like, why are you doing so much? Got him in the chair. And then it was just hilarious just seeing my dad walking like through the jetway in this wheelchair. And I was like, brilliant that he's like giving it. Then we get to the customs desk. The guy's staring at us, and then like he's speaking to a guy for ages and keeps staring at my dad. And my dad just sat there and he was going, Ross, he knows. Like, as in he knows that I'm not like a problem. And it was absolutely fine in the end, and we got through. So I was like, kudos to my dad for just like going for it. But that explains my dad. My dad will do anything.
Absolute legend.
Yeah, he's a legend. So like he was a really good tour manager. He loved it. Yeah. I think he came back a bit of a broken man, especially after Colombia.
Where in Colombia was this?
We went to Medellin.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
What club?
I can't remember what the club was called. I cannot remember. But it was good. And Colombia is really cool.
Yeah, a lot of people like dance music out there.
Yeah. Like I've only experienced Medellin. I would like to go to like Cali.
Yeah.
Cali's cool, like Bogota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just there, man, and had such a great fucking time.
How long were you there for?
1 week. I was just so surprised to see how many foreigners were there, kind of just doing some sort of remote work, whether they're, a creative or some entrepreneur, and, just fucking living in Colombia for 3 months. And
yeah.
It was awesome.
I feel like it's like it's a sellable life to go live there. Like, especially like a lot of these countries that we live in, even though they're amazing, it's pretty difficult for people to like earn a living here and things like that. So like a lot of people move in that side of the world because I don't know, it's more affordable and there's a lot of opportunity now. So like,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that shit crossed our mind multiple times. I mean, because we have the privilege of working remote content besides, making sure we're doing episodes, every week and stuff. But I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, from an economic standpoint, if you're earning, not number wise, but just in the U.S. or whatever you're doing out there, you're living pretty well. But the locals don't love that all the time because it does raise the prices. You know what I mean?
Did you love it out there though?
I loved it. My family's from South America. They're from Venezuela.
Okay. Cool.
And I never got a chance really to experience what it's like to live in South America. I visited a few times, but it was nice to go back to those grounds, kind of like speak the language, eat a lot of food that I grew up eating and shit. So that was awesome. And also a lot of good parties.
Yeah.
So
I bet you were having a good time.
Yeah. It was a great time. But then it was good to be back at home. There's nothing like getting back to home.
Same. Like whenever I tour and then I get back to where like my road is in the UK, you just go, especially coming back to London. I do always love coming back to London. Tour life is amazing. You get to see so many amazing places in the world, especially South America. Like I've been to some incredible places, or like Central Americas. I've had a lot of good time, and the parties out there are so good. Like I play in Chile quite a lot. Chile, Peru, Colombia a few times, but like Chile I go back to a lot. Parties there are crazy, and like it's extended sets out there. I feel like I always play like a minimum 3 or 4 hours, which I prefer so much more. Like
really?
Oh yeah, like I feel like I don't know. As a DJ, you should want to play more hours. Like I feel like I come alive when I play more than 3 hours because then people get to hear like the real volume of music that I have. I can really feel like I show it off. Sometimes when you've got like an hour and 30 minutes or like 2 hours, it's a bit more pressure because, okay, you've got to play your bangers. But then I like taking people on a journey. I like not playing the same sort of style the whole set, especially when I play Space. Like it's brilliant. Like I ended up playing 14 hours once at Space. Yeah. That was the longest set I've had.
No sober. You weren't sober for that one.
Yeah, I was not sober. I was far from sober. I think I couldn't even speak by the end of it. It was the closing party when they were closing for the summer. Do you remember then when they did?
Before the renovations.
Yeah, so like
I always see you when you do a lot of closings. For
yeah,
Space,
it seems
bro. They like you to close, brother.
It seems like they like me closing, which is really fun. And like that one was like it was super special because Davide, the guy who runs it, I jumped on like 11 a.m. and Lucas, you know Lucas?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Lucas showed me, he was like, it was 11:11. He just showed me 11:11. Then like, as I'm playing, Thunder Pony was on after me and he was like, do you want to play back to back through my set? I was like, yeah, sure. Started playing with him. And then Davide just goes, you can just keep playing with everyone if you want. And I was like, fuck it. Yeah, I'm just going to stay on. So like, I just stayed on. And then it got to like 11, 12 hours later. Lucas comes up to me, he goes, it's 11, bro. And I'm like, fucking hell, I've been on the decks for this long. It ended up being like me, Miss Madder, and Johnny from Space. And like Johnny from Space was dropping like "Take on Me" and stuff like that. But like it was a true space party. Like those, I feel very privileged to be able to play this club and like have the experiences that I've had behind the decks here, because it's somewhere you dream of playing as a DJ. And I think it's one of the rare gems in our industry that needs to be kept forever, just because it's what partying's all about. Sort of limitless rules. And like when you're in there, I'm sure you've experienced many times, you do just lose track of time.
Yeah.
Completely. I think the longest stint I've done in there was a Solid Grooves. I think me and Kwame did 21 hours.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And walked out. And then Kwame wanted to go, my friend Kwame, he wanted to go again. I was like, mate, I asked him for a chewing gum, but I think we were just in the cabin. I literally just went, "Argh," and he just knew exactly what I wanted. Just gave me a chewing gum. Yeah, 21 hours.
How long are you sleeping after a 21-hour set?
I think I did a full day. You went out on the next night. So my manager's, he had a crazy night the next night. And then you came back in like 10 hours later. If you get into different shifts when you're on it was a working holiday, you sort of just miss each other really. But yeah, I think I slept at least 12 hours after that. And like, you do get sort of like DOMs after raving. Do you know what I mean? Like I had like, my legs were sore. It's always my like top of my quads, because I think I bounce.
I feel it in my calves.
You're a little toe tapper then.
Yeah,
that means you must be a toe tapper if you
Every time I'm out late, man, the next day I know I fucking partied when you feel that soreness going up your legs, a bit of tightness in the ligaments, and I'm just like, we danced.
Yeah, I
last
had a
night.
good time. That was me. Have you been to AD before?
No, but I was just talking to Max about that yesterday.
AD is a special one. Like the iconic party is on a Monday. On the Monday, sort of like the space closing, they do a club called Brett, which is like the iconic club in Amsterdam, and Slap Funk, which is sick brand. They do a party there which goes on for days, sort of like space. And I remember after that, quads were hurting because Hamza kept telling me like, I just would turn and you'd be like sort of near the floor, just like fucking shaking it. I was like, there's a rare occasion that I can actually be on the dance floor and just feel like a raver again, because a lot of the times now people know me. So you have to sort of be careful when you're out. People are taking videos of you. Are you looking stupid? Which I don't mind looking stupid, but to an extent, you just want to be a raver again. And so those parties are special for me because I can just feel like a raver again. Because I started as a raver. I was just a raver. Didn't really plan on being a DJ. And now we're here.
How things just take their turn, you know?
Yeah, completely.
So you mentioned earlier you took some time in the acting world.
Yeah.
Theater
and film. So I
and film.
Yeah, I did all sorts from a very young age. And that was my plan. And I went to drama school, sort of thought I was going to hopefully be like the next Bradley Cooper.
How old were you?
When I went to drama school, I was between 16 and 18. But I started acting at like the age of 8. I was doing like musical theatre in London, in like the West End.
Your father was an actor, you mentioned as well?
No, he wasn't.
Tried to be an actor?
No, not at all. As in like my dad's been acting his whole life. My dad's a stockbroker. Well, he used to be a stockbroker. So like, I think you have to be a bit of a salesman actor doing that. But no, like the acting just came, I don't know. It was something I was all right at when I was younger. And then it just became a bit of a career path because I was doing it like from a young age. So I thought there's nothing else I can do. And then music just was always a big part of my life. And then there was a guy on a train who had this setup. It was like called Virtual DJ. I remember like watching him on the train going, what is that? And I asked him, I went home, downloaded this free software. And
on the train?
Yeah, so as in, he was on the train on his laptop. And he had this thing, it's called Virtual DJ. And I remember just asking him what it was. And he said, it's a free trial. I just sit and do it on the train. I was like, no way. So then I downloaded it when I got home. And then it was like, that's when the obsession started. I was just mixing in my room. And then, like every DJ does, you sort of start doing your friends' birthdays, but then I was doing like weddings, bar mitzvahs, whatever. Like I was doing anything just to DJ. And then it became clubs. And then it became about making music. And when I started making music, that was when it was the big turning point of like, oh, this could be a career, because I just started making music because it was fun, but then had like a release that Jamie Jones ended up playing, and then you go from there, and then suddenly it's a snowball where all these people from different parts of the world are hearing your music because you're releasing on these labels, and I hadn't planned it. And then it was a snowball effect from there. I got a manager, I got an agent, and before I knew it, it was like, oh, I'm a DJ now. I bet I should quit acting, because I was still trying to be an actor.
Wow.
So it's sort of, I think I only did well out of this because I just loved it. I wasn't, that sounds like a bit of a thing to say like that.
That's what everyone says.
I wasn't trying, but yeah, I just loved it, and just and still have this obsession with music. Something comes over me when I hear music. I'm listening to music all day long, not even just house music. I love all sorts of music. And so, yeah, like I feel very privileged to now be in this position, playing with a lot of heroes of mine, and like making music that they play and stuff like that. That feels like a very privileged position to be in.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. When do you think that turning point happened, though? From you began producing after having done, kind of just DJing at wherever you could.
Yeah.
Was there like a day or a certain time where you started just hearing that voice in your head and you were just like,
well, the voice in my head came when I met him. So
really?
My manager Hamza.
You guys have been together since day one.
Yes. So Hamza's the reason there is a Rossi. So Hamza basically is an amazing guy. He's my manager, but also like best friend. But Hamza, met him in Ibiza, and then Hamza just sort of had this little plan for me in life, which I didn't know, where he had heard the music I was making, and I thought it was all right, but I didn't think I was going to do anything with it. He took me out for lunch, sat me down and said, I think you should try this as a career. He said, I'm not a manager, but I could manage you, and we could see how it goes. Sort of make a friendship contract together and see where this takes us, because we both have nothing to lose. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then from that day ever since, I have spoken to him pretty much every day since. And he's been on my case about everything. The first thing he was like, you've got to change your name. I was just Ross McCormack. Then we came up with Rossi. And then we've just brainstormed ideas. It's like now we sort of share the same brain. But I can honestly say, like, it was sort of when I met him that was the turning point where someone believed in me enough that they thought I could do it. So then I was like, yeah, maybe I should do it. And he's been on my case ever since. And I'm not saying, it's all him. You both do your hard work. But
of course,
it was definitely like, all thanks to this guy. I don't think there would be a Rossi. So thank you very much. Yeah,
Big W. Cheers to that.
Cheers to Hamza. Congratulations, Hums.
Unbelievable. Yeah, no, it's awesome to see when you're at that moment where, you do have a bit of that self-belief. You see that there's something there.
Yeah.
And then and there's not, nothing has kind of really turned into something.
Yeah.
And then, some other people kind of give you that nudge. And it gives you that validation. But then there's one person or two people who are like, go for it.
Yeah, and I consider myself very lucky. Not everyone has that, or that person that they meet. I got so lucky when I met someone like him, because he's got an incredible brain to just enhance my ideas or enhance the music I make. I make a song and go, oh, this would be great for this. And that's what I think is important when you are an artist. It's fine building a team around you. I think that starts to become the most important thing. Like you say, you've got your team here who helps you do what you do. Thinking that you can just do it all on your own, it's just such a, I don't know, I'd say an immature way of looking at it. You need people to bounce ideas off of, and for people to tell you when you are wrong, or when you could be doing better, or when you could be working harder. That's an important thing. And so I found that in a friend and a manager. And I think the importance of having a manager that actually cares about what you're going to do and focuses your career path in the same way. Do you know what I mean? Like, thinks the same way as you, but also actually cares about you as a human. There's a lot of managers out there, I imagine, that like they just want to kind of get out of the artist what they want, and they don't really care about them. Whereas I feel blessed to have a manager that actually cares about my well-being as well as what I'm going to do in my career. And I think that's really important. It's really hard to find a person like that, but I think every artist should try to build a team around them of people that they trust. That's become a really important thing to me as an artist.
Yeah, and you mentioned that, you said you feel like you got pretty lucky, but I mean, I'm a big believer in that you kind of create your luck, you shape your luck, you put yourself in those situations.
It's like the harder you work, the luckier you get.
So I'm assuming during the time you guys met, I mean, you were probably in the lab all day, producing nonstop, creating, searching for, what the people would love, what
Yeah.
you would love, you know?
Constantly. It was a point. There was like a 6-year point where I had my music out everywhere. I remember even walking through London, 2 acting auditions with my laptop out, like headphones on, making music on the way, just because.
On the sidewalk.
Yeah, on the sidewalk, or just like on the train, on buses, wherever I was constantly making music because it just became this obsession. And I think that's why I ended up doing okay in it, because I just was, it was like a drug. It genuinely was when I first started making music. It was like someone had opened this new realm in my brain and I was like, holy shit, I need to figure it all out. And it's hard, yeah, it's like, I didn't plan that. It was just like an obsession, which I think it has to be. I think if you're going to be successful in anything, I think it has to be an obsession. It's like the 10,000 hours rule. You've got to just commit to it. But yeah, I just loved it. And yeah, those sort of 6 years are amazing because now I'm in a position where I'm touring loads and it gets difficult to find the time to actually make music again when you're not so tired and when you are actually at home. So I sort of miss those days a little bit, but I made 2 tracks on the way out here on the plane, which I love it when I get on a plane and I'm not tired because I can sit and open my laptop and there's nothing else to distract me and my brain will just go. I prefer making music on a plane or a train than I do in the studio.
Really?
There's less pressure because you can get in a studio and you sit there, you get ready, you drink your coffee in the morning, you get buzzing for it, and you sit there, you go, fuck, like, what am I going to make? Like, and there's this pressure that it's got to be good because you're in this studio. Whereas when you're on a plane, you're like, man, I'll just try something out. And when my brain goes to, man, I'll just try something out on Ableton, it just comes out naturally. Do you know what I mean? Without overthinking anything. That's when I make the best music, I would say.
That's pretty funny because when I spoke to Beltran, he told me that Smack You, I believe it was, he made that on the bus after leaving his insurance job. And then Max and Luke yesterday were telling me that he got home and was in his boxers and, I mean, sitting in his bed in 30 minutes. You know, they made some of their biggest tracks. And it's in those moments where you're just like, the pressure's gone and it's just tunnel vision, you know?
Yeah, it's where I have no doubt that every DJ or artist's best track has taken them the least amount of time.
That's so crazy how that works.
Because you're not overthinking it. It's just you go into this like flow state where you go, oh, that sounds good. This sounds good. 20 minutes, you've got a hit. And it was like, how did that happen? But that's like just a brainwave comes over you, I think. Like, and I think that's like I saw Clooney talking about it. Like, I don't. He was saying that like if ever he like doesn't know what to do, he sets a timer for an hour, and he says you've got to imagine you're about to play in an hour's time, and you need to finish this track for it. And I do that a bit as well. I like if I'm a bit stuck on what to make, I just give myself an hour and I go like make a track as quickly as you can, see what comes out. It might be shit, and you at least you tried it. A lot of the times it ends up being something good that you end up finishing. Yeah. So it's like it's an important thing to remember, I think.
I find it so fascinating hearing so many of you guys, you know, who are producers and artists, DJs, talk about this thing of overthinking. Because I mean, as a content creator myself, it happens to me too. The videos that I just pull up my fucking phone, click record, and post it have done better than every video that I've sat with, and I'm just like there for 30 minutes, like how should I say this? How should I say that? And then it's funny because I was on the plane, I forgot where I was traveling to, and I put up a Jay-Z documentary of his life. And one thing he said in the video was that you can't force art. You know what I mean? Whether that's video, content creation, or music, it just, when it comes, it comes. Yeah. And so that's pretty crazy. Overthinking, I think, is the biggest challenge to creating something special.
It's the biggest block. Like, all the tracks that I've spent, let's say, 2 months back and forth on, I hate. And, like, you try to make them perfect is the problem. And nothing can be perfect. And sometimes the best songs, or the best work, is that there's just a bit of imperfection in it, and that's the point. Like, it shouldn't... Sometimes something too polished is a bit like, oh, you've overthought it, and there's no soul. Like, I think you get soul and stuff out of that sort of just get up and go attitude. Do you know what I mean? And when you're overthinking a piece of content and you're trying to make it exactly perfect, I think, overthinking it, you're just not going to get anything.
It's not as natural.
No. Like, and even if it is good, you'll overthink it anyway to the point where you hate it. Even though it might look good to everyone else. Yeah, I think we're in an age where we are all overthinkers because of these and that, and you're just constantly...
much.
You're constantly zoned in. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I work off of this, like, all day long. And so, like, constantly being dialed into that, and then you're in a constant comparison mode because everyone else is doing their thing. And then when someone does that, you're like, oh, can I be better than that? And it's like, actually, take it all away. Take it back to basics. What do I love doing? Let's just do that.
Exactly. Yeah. Back to the basics.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you use a smartwatch or anything while you were doing 75 hard?
I didn't.
That's fantastic that you didn't.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
These lot, yeah. Because also the Apple Watch is like a bit of anxiety. Do you know what I mean? Like the notifications and the things like that. I was just like, I just kept it simple, man. You know, I was running a lot. I was playing I play a lot of football. I like to play paddle as well.
Nice.
And then I was just doing a lot of HIIT and a lot of like interval training in the gym, ski erg, bike, everything. I really enjoy exercise. I think it's my sort of therapy. I don't think I do meditating or things like that. My meditation is exercise.
Same.
Yeah, it's the best, the best form. Do you know what I mean?
It forces you to be in the present moment.
Yeah, and but I didn't have the watches or anything.
The reason I asked is because you were talking about, like now everything's just digital overstimulation.
Yeah.
The other day I was sitting in my fucking car and my watch was dead. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go do cardio now, but my watch is dead. I gotta go charge it. Then I'm sitting there in my car and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with us?
It's so true.
I'm like, I need a fucking watch to go exercise. I need my phone to do this. Like, what were people doing 40 years ago? They weren't seeing their heart rate and all this shit. Just shut up and do it.
Because that's what he said. He was like, oh, I'm not going to close my rings today. I'm like, well, fucking just go do it. Like, just go exercise. Like, you close your ring in your head. Like, if you got up and you did it, but I get it. It's the proof that you did it. You want to see all them rings closed. But I'm like, I'm not trying to live by that. If I got up and I'm accountable for myself, that's enough. And I know if I've worked hard enough. Because I want to come out of the gym blowing. You know what I mean? Or feeling the proper pump on, or playing a game of football and like I'm actually dead afterwards because I like gave it everything. But I'm a very sporty and competitive person. If I do something, I'm going to do it to the best I can possibly do it. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm thinking, why am I doing it? That's how my brain works. But yeah.
I'll be doing the dumbest shit and I'll just get so competitive as well.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good and bad.
Yeah, 100%. It is good and bad. It can make you into a terrible person at times.
What about, talking a bit about your studio sessions now, when you go into the, production mindset.
Yeah.
How's that changed over time, you think?
It's changed over time now because I think I'm a bit more aware of I'd say I'm better at producing. So I can actually craft a bit more of a style that I want to make that day. Whereas before, I was just trying to figure out how to make a good beat. Whereas now I can go, okay, I want to make a stylish break beat today. So I have a bit more control. Sometimes that leads into your overthinking, because if I go into the studio and I say, I'm going to make I'll be honest, I've been having to make a remix recently, where I've been so busy, I've done that overthinking thing again, where I've gone into the studio thinking, this is a remix for a really good person, but having that sort of narrow-mindedness in the studio where I'm thinking about the artist and what they're gonna like, and it's about stepping out of that mold and going, no, what do I like? What do I want it to sound like? But I don't think my process has ever changed in the studio. I always like to come into the studio not with a blank canvas. So I like to start something, even if it's in my bedroom or something like that, where there's an inspiration immediately when I walk in. If I walk in and I've got a blank canvas, I'll sit there for hours with a loop and I'll end up hating it, and then I'll think I'm never going to make a good track again. That's how things go. But more recently, it's been just a balance of finding the time to make music within everything else we've got going on. Because I've got the events we do, Homegrown. Then we've got a clothing brand, Rossi Homegrown clothing brand. Home Cooked now, the cooking show we've just started. What else we've got? A record label that we run as well. Between all of that and then doing my own content as well, it becomes a 7-day-a-week job.
Absolutely.
So then I'm having to now block off weeks to just make music instead of just, unless I'm on a long flight or something. So that's been the most challenging thing of recent times for me as an artist.
How you distribute your creativity with more things going on.
Exactly.
I've noticed that for myself too. Podcast, YouTube. Okay, how are we gonna?
Yeah, it's you've constantly got different hats on, and today I'm this hat. That 2 weeks ago, we literally just had a week of content of different brands. I was doing content for our own content. So the role of a DJ, like we were talking about earlier, has changed. You're sort of you're juggling a lot of different balls. So I think, the most challenging for me recently has actually just been finding the time to be present and in the studio. But I've made some good songs recently, so I'm actually excited.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Talk about Little Man.
Little Man.
Dude, that song, man, the first time I fucking heard it, oh my gosh. I just remember I was like, repeat.
So
repeat.
that song.
Is that you on the cover photo?
No, oh yeah, that is me.
Okay.
So, but it's a really funny story where some Italian guy came up to me and he was like, oh, I love this song. I love Little Man. And I was like, oh, thank you. He's like, for your son, he's amazing. And I was like, for my son? He's like, yeah, he's beautiful for your son. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, your son on the cover. It's amazing. I was like, no, it's not my son. That's me. Little man. Little man. He was like, oh, I'm so sorry, bro. He thought it was my son. I was like, do I look old enough to have a kid yet? But yeah, it's me. That's a picture of me in Ireland, in the town where my dad grew up. Like literally when I was, I think, 5 years old. But that song, do you know the original song?
I don't.
So the original song is a very big garage classic in the UK called Little Man by, the singer on it is Sia. Do you know Sia?
No.
S-I-A, the singer. She's got hair in front of her face. You can't see her, weirdly enough.
Not sure.
But okay, it's a very famous song in the UK. And it started just as an edit. I was playing for Fuse at Halloween at this place in London called Tobacco Docks.
Oh, that's the one place I didn't go to when I was in London.
And they're reopening it now, I think. And
Or actually, I did go to it.
it was sick. It's sick. And I was playing there back to back with Rich Next, and I wanted something that like the UK crowd would go, oh, like when especially in the UK crowd, when you drop it, you just hear that roar. And I was thinking, what could work? And then I was just listening to loads of old garage stuff because I grew up on garage. Like, I don't know how much you know of garage music.
Not much.
Garage music, how garage started, garage was like an off trend of house. How it started was house music was made, like, and then in the UK, people started going to warehouse raves, but then afterwards, they'd all be on speed and fucking riled up. So they'd speed up the tempo and it would make house music a lot faster and more higher pitched. And people liked that music just as much. So they started producing tracks that sounded like that, but it wasn't house music. So they called it garage because the garage is next to the house.
Right.
And I grew up on garage. Like garage was like my thing in when I was like really young. And so then I've always had a little bit of that influence in my music. So then this track came around because yeah, that was a massive song and I wanted to do an edit of it. But then when I first played it, it went wild. And then we were debating releasing it for a while because it was an edit and we had to get it cleared, but we got it cleared. And then when we released it, it went like wildfire around the world. And it was cool to start see what people actually thought the lyrics said. Because like some guy thought it was like Love Soul Man. Like different people, like, I love when people like sing your lyrics back to you and they're so wrong. But it's commitment to it. But it was nice to start seeing countries around the world like started to love that song because it's like UK heritage. And like now it was like my like stamp on it. And so like that was a special release for me. And I saw a massive like jump in hype worldwide when we released that song. And that was the first release of my own label, Yellow Dot, which is like a singles label away from Homegrown. So yeah, I'm like proud of that song.
That's a fucking banger.
Yeah.
Along with many of the others, but
thank you very much.
That I don't know how to describe the emotion you feel. I mean, yeah, I can. It's just like a very bouncy, it's like it picks you up.
The bass line always
forces
works.
you to move.
Yeah.
That's what I try. It's unbelievable.
So what I try to do with my music. My music is made to fucking absolutely go wild too. Like I've always wanted to make stuff that is exciting and fun for a dance floor. And I've learned to do the other stuff, the more emotional and mature stuff. But in my heart, I'm just a raver. And that's when I make music, I'm just imagining myself on the dance floor. So like that's why you always hear like a groovy bass line from me or slamming drums and stuff like that. Just it's how I think.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you like the song.
Yeah, it's great. Take me back to some of your favorite memories when you were raving back then.
Memories? Jesus, there's too many. Like,
there's one notable one. Where you were like, I need to produce something like this one day and fucking make it kick.
Weirdly enough, I'll go back to a Fabric one. I was at Fabric and I saw Craig Richards dropped. This is like, it was just an inspiring moment for me, but he dropped this track. It's by Colonel Abrams. It's called Release the Tension. Now, this didn't inspire me to make music, but it inspired me to really want to be a DJ because this track is like an old 70s house record, like really early on. And Craig Richards that night warmed up for Jamie Jones. This might have been the night that you were probably there. And it was in like the first 2 hours of the set and he dropped this funky housey disco song. And I remember just seeing this club come alive. And I was like, what has he just done to the dance floor? And I remember thinking in that moment, oh, I want to do that so badly. Like, I want that moment of like control where you've dropped something and like the crowd receive it so well, but it's also like a song that no one knows. And then I was like on the hunt for that song for ages. Now I've got the record. It's an amazing record. It's called Colonel Abrams' Released Attention. And that was a moment I remember being on the dance floor like, I really want to be a DJ. Like, I'd love that feeling. And that's always stuck with me as a special moment. But I've had some crazy ones. Like I'd say that some of the best is the early Music On days. The early Music On days in Amnesia, when Music On was at Amnesia and it wouldn't close till like midday the next day. The sun would be rising at Amnesia. I remember Carl Cox dropping the song Finder. You know the song goes?
Of course. Yeah.
That was before it came out. And like it was the summer that song came out.
Oh my gosh.
And he dropped it at like probably 9 a.m. and he was back to back with Corolla. And I just remember being like, what is my life? Like, I'm in it. You know, you have that existential moment in the club where you're just like, I can't believe I'm here. You're absolutely fucked. You're having the best time with all your mates. And like, yeah, those are like special happy moments in the rave where you just can't stop hugging people and just having the best time. Like,
that must have been a crazy moment listening to him play that track before the year release.
Didn't know what it was at the time. It was just that
Marco.
song. Yeah, just songs that sound like a bell. And I was like, what is this tune? I heard it all summer that summer. That was like my first big IB for summer. That's when I met you.
What year was that? Remember?
2016, was it? 2016. 2016, yeah.
Was that the golden era, you think?
Of Ibiza or my golden era? Because I don't think that's the golden era of Ibiza, in my opinion. I think we were just a bit late. I think the golden era of Ibiza was probably like late 90s when the club space in Ibiza was like really kicking. And like you could go to clubs for 24 hours and like, it was like DC10 was always on a Monday, Carl Cox at Revolutions on a Tuesday. Friday was Music On, Sundays was Space, and then in between that you had your rest periods, but you'd probably just crack on going. Yeah. And that was like, Ibiza, people would just turn up in shorts and a vest and it wouldn't matter what you were wearing, whereas now it has changed a bit. And I think VIP has taken over a lot in Ibiza, which is starting to become a bit of a shame because I think I got the cusp of just the good last bit of, I went to the Space closing party and like when Carl Cox played Angie Stone, I Wish I Didn't Miss You Anymore. Is that Angie Stone, I think? R.I.P. I think she just passed away. Played that as the last song, but I remember being at Space thinking, this is the end of an era. And that was an end of an era really for me because I first went to Space when I was like 16, 17.
I went to Space here when I was 16.
Yeah.
That's a whole different...
But still, that's iconic, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it was, because the reason I asked is, man, because so many accounts on Instagram and stuff post videos like 2013 versus 2024. Yeah. And I'll rewatch the video like 40 times. And I'm like, man, I wish I could go there and just kind of feel a little bit of that moment before the phones were so present.
Yeah, there is a big jump of that.
I just feel like people were a bit more present, but it is what it is. It's still amazing.
It's a real big debate at the moment, phones or not phones on the dance floor. Because look, if you're a young artist and you aren't really well known and loads of people liked your set and they're posting a video of it, they're going to know more people are going to know who you are after it. So it's like a good thing that you've like got loads of phones on the dance floor for your exposure. But then for me, like, I get a little bit upset because I'm thinking, I just want to see people present and having like a really good time on the dance floor. Do you know what I mean? So it's a difficult balance between phones and not phones at the moment because I do think it is a vibe killer, but it helps people's promotion. But we've got this idea that I'm doing a party at Coco soon in May, doing like a headline show there. So we're trialing Coco in Camden in London. Okay. So it's like really, really cool venue at the moment in London. So we're doing it for the first time. You right? So we're doing a party at Coco in Camden. And so we had this idea that we were like, okay, loads of people don't like the idea of using phones at the moment, but some people do. So we came up with this idea called like Homegrown on air, off air, where we've created this sign, which is like the DJ is going to control. And when I flick it on air, you're not allowed to use your phone.
That's genius.
And when you turn off air, but what it's actually going to be is that when we turn the on air sign, there's going to be infrared lights that turn on. So infrared lights you can only see through a phone. You can't see with your eye. So then when someone tries to take a video, there'll be a no phone signal that comes up on their phone that ruins the video. And so we're going to try all that at Coco. This is the idea we've had to see if we can have a bit of control with the phones. Because then if you can do that, the DJ can choose whether they want phones and they don't. And they flick it off or they flick it on, either midway during their set or for none of the set. So
that's a fucking crazy idea.
Yeah, we've had.
That's sick.
Yeah, so
I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, we're gonna try. We're trying it out at Coco to see how it goes. But we think if it works, it's gonna be really cool. Because then it's a bit of the best of both worlds. Because you're never gonna get away from it. But it might be a cool way to get people to start thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because it is important to think about. I think we've gone quite far with the phones.
Yeah, it's funny because someone mentioned to me recently. It's now in order to connect, you need to disconnect.
Exactly.
Meaning disconnect from the phone to connect with the moment. And when I'm at a party and the person playing is just ripping songs that I just love, I'll pull out my phone, record a video too, because the first thing I do the next day, I just start watching the videos. I'm just like, that moment was so great.
That is a lovely feeling.
And I send it in my group chats to my friends, and I'm like, listen to this shit. You wish you were there,
That's what I mean, because it is difficult to then take yourself away from that, because you're like, okay, that is a wonderful way to remember a moment. So that's why I don't mind the phones too much. As long as, what pisses me off more, right, is when you're DJing and then you see Matey Boy on the front row just like this.
Yeah.
And you're like, fucking, I'm trying to make you dance here. Do you know what I mean? Let's have a party. I don't mind a bit of like people who film, but it's when it's like every drop, or it's when people are waiting for a certain song, they film it, they're hyped, and then suddenly that song's off. They're just like that. And that's when it becomes a bit like, okay, there's got to be a balance between it. But I agree with you. Like I've been at festivals. I was at Glastonbury this year. When the Arctic Monkeys came on, I needed to remember the moment of Alex Turner fucking coming out and going mental and looking sick. Do you know what I mean? And I watched that back. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's a difficult one with the phones. I love it and I hate it. It's like Marmite.
Do you think it's made it more challenging to kind of read that crowd in a way when you're behind there, telling the story, playing your music? Because you mentioned before when you were at that Fabric show, and you saw him play that one song.
Yeah.
And that those moments where you just, like even when you're there in the crowd, at least sometimes it goes through my head. I'm just like, I can't imagine what it must feel like to be controlling this emotion, this amazing feeling for the people. And now with so many phones up, it can get a bit more difficult nowadays.
You do notice it. Like I did notice it when I played at Fuse, and they went back to playing 93 Feet East in London, a really cool, iconic venue. And they did a no phones policy for all of the parties. And you did notice how everyone was listening to your every move on the decks, which is such a pleasure when people actually really you can see the crowd are so intent. And that's when like you can do the tiniest thing and people reacting off it. And that's like that sweet spot when you're in a club like that and they're so passionate about what you're doing, all you want to do is give them everything back. And sort of when they're not giving you that, you force it more, but there's a part of you that's like, I don't want to give you all of this because you don't really care. So that's why like it is an important thing, because that intent into like what the music is should be the most important thing in a club. Because why are you coming to a club, right? Let's think about it. Why do we go to clubs? Okay, you want to hang out with your friends and have fun, but I go to clubs because I want to be like mind blown. I want to walk out and go, that was fucking insane.
Yeah.
And all those best nights are when you go to your mates, do you remember when this happened? Do you remember when he dropped that? Or do you remember when she did this? Like, and I think if we go too far with the phones, you're not going to have that feeling again. But I don't know.
I'm pretty optimistic about it though, because I think it's been such a common discussion right now. And so many people are now like, let's make an effort here to allow people to be a bit more present.
Yeah. That's what we're trying.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure this week there'll be a lot of that though as well.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, this week's going to be amazing.
It's your third music week.
I think third or fourth. This will be the fourth. I think we've done 3. And it's nice coming into it with a bit of experience now. Because the first one is so overwhelming.
Really?
Yeah, I think the first one for us was so overwhelming because there's just so many parties. But this one now, I think I've come into it with a bit more of a mature mindset and like I know how to do it.
Got some tricks up your sleeves.
Yeah, I know how to budget my time. I'm coming into it fresh, feeling good. Whereas I think I came into it the first year off the back of probably no sleep, party. So yeah, it's exciting. And it's it's always a nice thing, Music Week, because you get to connect with people that you maybe don't see because they're all always touring and around the world. So like all the DJs are in one place, and you
like
get
the Olympics.
yeah, it sort of is like the Olympics of DJing. It's very funny for like this sort of sound. So yeah, it's special to be a part of.
Any other DJs out here that you're excited to see or play with that?
Quite catch that.
Sorry,
Could you please say that again?
any other DJs? Any other DJ? I've got my party tomorrow night at Floyd, which is Homegrown, and we've booked Voigtman and Arapu. Do you know those guys?
No.
They're very deep, and they're like Arapu was like
Of course, yeah.
Some waves god. Like
Minimal fucking. Of course.
He's one of the DJs that absolutely blows my mind when he plays.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
To have him playing at my party is a very special feeling. And
that is sick.
Klaus Voigtman is just an ultimate selector. He's such a good DJ. He always comes with a bag of new records, and they're just like face melters, like such good music. So those two especially, not being biased because they're at my party, but I would never have thought that one day I could book those people when I first started. So that's a real special thing to have them here in Miami. Because I know not everyone will know them as well, and that's an even more special thing.
So people are in for a treat.
People are in for a very big treat at Homegrown.
Yeah, talk about Homegrown a bit. When did that come about?
Came about, was it 2018, I think? 2018, and it just started as a radio show. Just because we got a slot to do an opportunity to do a radio show. And then we started it as a radio show, and then the idea was to just invite different people, no matter how big or small, on to do a podcast mix. And I would introduce them, and I still do it. I do like a minute intro about the DJs. And then it started from there as like a little snowball. Once we had the radio show, then it was about like, okay, maybe we started the clothes first before the record label. We were inspired by this guy who had a story about what's the label? Strictly Rhythm. They used to wear these jackets, the Strictly Rhythm jackets, and we were like, oh, it'd be cool if we had homegrown jackets. So we made these homegrown jackets. Then we didn't sell because everyone wanted one. And then because we created this demand, we started the clothing label where we started hoodies and t-shirts. And then after that, it was like, okay, maybe it's time to start my own label. So then the label came, and now it's its own entity where we've got all sides of it. And it's now becoming sort of like the home studios, because now we've got a cooking show.
Fuck yeah. That was going to be my next question. How did that come about? You've always been passionate about cooking?
So, I love food.
Do you mind if I steal your water, by the way?
Please do.
I see it's been off.
Okay, I've smashed in the beer. So the cooking show, it came about because I have a love of food, and whenever us DJs are touring, the things we always talk about end up being food. It's the most common thing you have with another human being. You can talk about food because everyone eats it. But I think I love food because of trying all different stuff around the world, and like different cultures and I love food. And then where I used to be an actor, there was always a side of being in front of camera that I've never been sort of afraid of. And we always wanted to kind of use that to our advantage. So it was just an idea where it was a great way of thinking to get to know DJs without doing like the whole sort of interview thing, where I could bring people on and just allow them to express themselves, but in a different way than what people had seen them do musically. And so it was an idea that we had sort of like 5 years ago, and then COVID happened and it was getting in the way. And then we came out of COVID, I was really busy. So then it was like finally time that we could start scheduling it in and getting DJs and their schedules together. And it's been amazing. It's been so fun, like to learn. I don't know, people just have shared so much, and like I've learned about people's stories, but then just seeing how people work in a kitchen. And it's really fun. We had the first episode with Archie Hamilton.
Yeah.
It's gone really well. And then we've got Josh. So Josh has done a baking episode, which is really funny. And it's me and Josh are really good friends. So it was nice to see us. I don't know, it was just like two friends hanging out, cooking together. Then we've got Sarah Story, who's like a Radio 1 presenter, a DJ called Trauma, if you know who Trauma is. He's playing out here tonight, I think. And then we've got more guests coming. I think we're trying to work for Seth to come on, because I know how much Seth...
Oh my gosh.
Seth loves his cooking. Well, like, he had a restaurant in London and he loves his barbecue food. So it's a project that I've just like loved working on, and it's going to be hopefully keep growing. And I want to have it where it's not just DJs. You know what I mean? We want to get actors or footballers or all sorts of cool people on it. Just because it's just a nice thing to cook with people.
Yeah, that's super
chat.
exciting, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, cooking a meal, shooting the shit.
Yeah.
People laugh. People love to watch that. It's very comforting as well.
Yeah.
That's at least what I enjoy to watch as well.
It's an easy thing to put on in the background, and it's like it's a great way to get to know someone. But I keep fucking up the dishes. Like whenever we cook, like I Archie's one I added way too much salt. Josh's one I used the wrong flour. So like it's the fun thing about it is like I'm not taking myself too seriously in it. It's not like I'm going, I'm an amazing chef. It's just a fun way of getting to know people whilst cooking some amazing food. So yeah, I'm happy that it's finally out and it's going to be a big project. And we're probably going to start doing smaller pop-up events. We did a first pop-up event last week to launch it. And what we might start doing is like sort of like an events company where we have someone on the episode and then we sort of start doing a live stream pop-up for them that's in an obscure place like a kitchen or something like that. That's to do with the home cooked brand. And we'll set it up, but it gives them the platform to do something cool. Sort of then leading into maybe just being like a live stream platform as well as the cooking show. So we're already kind of thinking of other ideas to branch off it as well. So yeah, it's a snowball effect of content.
a lot of big plans.
Yeah, a lot of big plans.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think it's funnier sometimes to watch people cook when they're not like 5-star chefs and shit.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's more relatable.
Yeah.
You know, I fuck up 90% of the things I cook,
100%.
over salt them or do something, and then it ends up tasting great.
Yeah,
you know?
we're human, man. And that's what I wanted to get across in it. Like that it's just chilled people cooking some meals. And it has been really fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Really
So a lot of big plans, big week, big year.
Yeah.
Anything you want to leave the fans with for what's to come? I mean, first of all, home cooked.
Yeah.
You're airing it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's just come out. So
Yesterday was the first episode.
Yesterday was the first episode.
What's the name of the channel?
Just Home Cooked by Rossi. So go check it out. Go watch it if you like it. And then we're gonna have like loads more artists coming on this year. Things I want to leave with the fans. I don't know, just like thanks so much. Like that's all I ever want to say to people. Like people are so lovely and so supportive, and people who send amazing messages and like come and even buy a ticket or buy your merch and things like that. Like all I ever want to say is thank you. Like I'm very grateful to be in this position. I'm very grateful to be in this chair chatting to you, man. It's a wonderful life and I'm very grateful.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel the same way. Thank you so much for coming on. And anyone who's tuned into the episode this far and has enjoyed it, we appreciate you. Do you want to, you said you mentioned you might do another merch drop soon.
Yeah, we might have. We've got another merch drop, which is like sort of in tandem with the fitness. So we came up with these new t-shirts called Track Team t-shirts, which is like, you always see a lot of people, especially in the UK, in like sportswear, but sometimes it's a bit like sportswear that you don't want people to wear in the rave. So we thought it'd be nice to make something that people can feel that it's just like comfortable and sporty. They could wear it in the gym or wear it in the rave. I've been wearing it in my sets,
love that.
and it's been good. It catches the sweat really well because I fucking sweat.
Me too. I'm going to need some of this.
I sweat more than the average Joe. We'll make sure we get you some sent.
That'd be amazing.
But yeah, we've got these called Track Team t-shirts. They're going to be coming out very soon. Probably just...
Yeah, why is it
as
called
in
Track
like
Team?
the difference of like a track, music track, and running on a track. So like the same.
Love that.
The two things of fitness. Well, seeing as everyone's trying to be a fitness king and trying to be a DJ, you know, let's try.
You've done it.
Let's make a t-shirt out of it. So and it says on it balancing worlds.
Do you want to give away a t-shirt to one person who viewed the pod this far?
Yeah, let's do it.
What should they comment on the video below?
What should they comment to win it?
Yeah, you'll pick one of the comments. Anyone who comments it.
Well, yeah, see you again.
All right, perfect.
How many see-ups do you get already on a comment? Yeah.
Yeah, that actually might be a difficult one. But let's see here.
I mean, comment Track Team. Comment Track to Ross.
Or what's your favorite meal to cook?
Favorite meal to cook? What would your answer be? Yeah, I do love. No, of recent time. I mean, I love a ramen. I love ramen. So like,
okay, so comment ramen with Rossi.
So Rossi ramen. Yeah, Rossi ramen. Comment that, and then you could win a Track Team t-shirt. So there's like well, it's controversial at the moment, but like the word minimal, I think is very interesting. Like of like what people
underground minimal. Like,
Yeah, because like, here's how I see minimal.
should I tell you how I
You
think it
all right, here we go. You tell me what you think like minimal is and like the kind of artist.
Well, I'll
and
tell you
the style.
what I've seen. Like right now, people are saying like pausa minimal, fucking.
Even me, they say I'm minimal, which I don't think I am, because
Arapu, that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, like
Arapu, yeah.
Priku as well.
yeah,
Okay, so I didn't understand when you said his name, but I've listened to a lot of their music, and
Yeah.
that's fucking minimal.
That-
I would consider. I mean, I would have put some of your tracks in that spectrum.
maybe some of them, but like I think even me, like it's difficult because like my music is a lot more skippier and less minimalistic in its approach, let's say, than like Arapu, Priku, Radu, Raresh, Ricardo Villalobos. Like Ricardo Villalobos is arguably like the godfather of minimal music, and also like minimal is sort of like becomes a bit of a persona when those DJs play, because everything about them is minimalistic to their dance moves. They don't dance really. They just play. And you hear like, but the beauty of minimal sets and like minimal music is that you hear every single little change because it's so minimalistic. It's like when you go to some waves, when the hi-hat comes in, it's so exciting because there hasn't been a hi-hat for 4 hours. Do you know what I mean? That's what minimal music is. And I think there's the words being thrown around a lot at the moment. And even, to people go, Rossi, minimal Don. And I'm like, I don't know if I am. Like, I just make good house music, let's say. But like, people starting to go, oh, pause a minimal, da-da-da. And I'm not saying it's like a negative thing. I just think it's being like, it's now become such a broad thing. As broad as like house is becoming. Do you know what I mean? Because I think it's hard to define now what it actually is. And I think, it's an interesting one when I see it online because there's a lot of stuff going out as minimal that I go, it's not really. But it's because there was no middle ground between like house music and like something a little bit deeper that isn't minimal. So then it just all went in that bracket. And that's where I think we're at. We've got this whole new sort of sound, which, okay, people would sort of put the likes of minimal music with me now. Let's say Chris Dussy, but I'd say Chris Dussy's deep house. Like,
Really?
Yeah, Chris Dussy's deep house is all very euphoric. If you listen to all of his stuff, it's not very minimalistic, in my opinion. His approach is very exciting. People would say Josh's probably more teetered. His original sound was more teetered towards the minimal. Now it's taking a bit more of a bigger room route. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's an interesting conversation at the moment because I don't know. It's hard to not sound really controversial, but it's not an annoyance. It's like, I don't know what this all is now.
There's a lot of labeling going on.
Yeah, let's not label it. Let's just call it good music and have a good time.
Dance music, you know what I mean? That's fucking party.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it starts to. I don't know why it starts to annoy me because I go. Well, what is?
I mean, it even annoys me, and I've mischaracterized certain music, because this is the thing that happens, that I've noticed at least. House music has become so fucking popular now.
Yes.
That when you identify with liking a certain subgenre of house music, whether it's minimal or deep house or tech house, it's like people feel like they're like different or part of a certain clique or something like that, or like this is better than that. You know what I mean? Kind of like that dance music
100%.
superiority.
And I feel like
It's happening the most with minimal though.
yeah, and I also feel like
Minimal.
there is this thing now, where people go, well, that's crap, that's good, or da-da-da. It's like, no, like music's subjective. Do you know what I mean? It's very open, and like electronic music is becoming massive now. You've got the likes of Fred again. Do you know what I mean? He's like taking the world by storm with like this sort of crazy drum and bass sort of style, but then also this housey style. But it's hard when people start putting things in boxes, I think, in life in general anyway. I don't think sometimes we need so many labels.
Yeah, we don't.
But yeah, the word minimal is getting thrown around loads. And I thought there was a bit of a debate on Twitter, like more recently. John Summit posted something about minimal, and then I saw Chase West post something about. Well, there was a bit of a debate going on about what is minimal. Does minimal? Can I do this on minimal? Like, and it was just like, well, is anyone of those guys playing minimal? I don't think so. I think go let Ricardo Villalobos play his minimal, and then we'll just play our tech house music, because it is all tech house music.
Yeah.
Because no one likes using the word tech house anymore because everyone's scared of it.
That's exactly what I was gonna say though. Like if you would have asked me like, what do I think Little Man, encompasses, and I was gonna say pretty much tech house.
Yeah, it is. It's tech
jumpy fucking-
It's tech house with an influence of garage. But people are so scared of the word tech house now because it sort of grew out of fashion, and now everyone's like would never call their stuff tech house. But if you go on Discogs and you look through 90s tech house, it sounds like what we're making now. Do you know what I mean? And that's like it's tech house, but this whole But like I say, we don't need to label it. It's just good music. Let's just play it and have a good time and go have a fucking rustle.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there is a big wave now of this sound, which people a lot
Yeah.
like to call minimal.
Yeah, and it's like, it varies as well because you've got a big wave of this sound, but now everyone's doing it slightly differently. You've got like, okay, Beltran vibes, which is a lot more stripped back. Beltran's actually more closer to than what I would describe as minimal than any of us are, I would say.
Really?
In terms of his drums and his patterns. But then he has these massive raw synths that fucking melt your face away. And that's where it teeters into like that sort of more tech housey sound. So like he's in that middle ground, but you've got, let's say from Beltran to Chris Stussy, two very different sounds, but it seems to come under the same bracket now, which is so interesting. Everyone like puts it at this minimal, but it's sort of not. Like Chris Stussy is like more of like a deep house era god. Do you know what I mean now? Like Beltran's doing that deep swung stuff. And then you've got people like me or Josh or Max, all of that in the middle. So like there's this big broad spectrum. But what's beautiful about it is that there's enough to go around and everyone can have a piece of their pie on a festival lineup. And you can also enjoy it all. That's what the beauty of like those lineups are. You can have a night of like different sounding styles in one big style, which is like why this scene is so exciting right now, because everyone's doing their thing and everyone's doing it well. So I appreciate being a part of that. It's like, it's sick to see everyone doing their bit. It's cool.
Yeah, and I also think a lot of people a bit younger than me who are now first starting to listen to more dance music, when they think of the word minimal, they immediately, connect it with underground and like kind of just like, I don't listen to the super big room,
the big
main
stuff.
stage fucking shit. I listen to minimal. Yeah. So it kind of has like that.
Yeah, it does. It gives you that coolness. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I've noticed and stuff with different accounts.
It's that edge. But then, like, let's say minimal music. If Michael Bibby makes me minimal music, let's say, then he's selling 40,000 tickets. So that's big stage music now. So it's like, what is it? Is it minimal? It's like it's a funny term at the moment.
Yeah.
But everyone's doing their thing, and
there should be a sit down with all the guys
it's like the scene of the Godfather, you know,
minimal DJs.
or the fathers, the fathers of the families.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's have a sit down.
You guys have to have a round table and be like, what the fuck is minimal?
You come to my house today. Yeah. Then we should have a sit down and talk about it, guys.
Now tell me, you mentioned to me when you got here that you were arrested a while back.
Okay, not here. I got arrested in a club, but I didn't end up in a cell and I hadn't done anything wrong. But I played in this place called the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man, it sounds such an Irish term, doesn't it? But yeah, it's an island just off of England. And I got a set there. Some guy booked me. And so I flew there, had dinner with the promoter, got to the club's booming off, going crazy. And then like at the back of the club from where the DJ booth is, you can see the stairs coming into the club. I see 4 policemen coming in, their big yellow jackets, walk round the club and walk straight to the booth, open the doors to the booth, come in the booth and say, could you turn the music off, please? And I was like, it's going off. Big booming club, middle of the set. And I was like, really? They was like, yeah, could you turn the music off? I was like, it must be an emergency. Someone might be hurt. Turned it off, stand there thinking they're going to make an announcement. And then they goes to me, sorry, we're going to have to put you in handcuffs, mate. And I went, me? I was like, what have I done? It was like, we've got reason to believe you're distributing drugs in this club. I was like, mate, I've just got here. Like, I'm playing a set. And then I was also worried because like people started getting their phones out and it's like, Rossi's getting arrested. And I was like, I just said to them, would you mind if you can put me in cuffs, but just not do it right here? He said, I can't do that, sir. We're going to have to just put you in cuffs here. And
in the booth.
In the booth. And then this was their rule. So what happened was, apparently some geezer in the toilet had been found with gear. And his excuse was, well, then when they asked him where he got it from, he said, I got it from the DJ. But didn't specify which DJ. So they've just assumed that the DJ on the decks has given this guy drugs. So he must be distributing it. That was their logic. So then what they said to me is that, also, bear in mind, police came, put me in handcuffs. They've got rid of everyone. I'm standing there in handcuffs. Promoter legged it. He's not in the club anymore. I'm there on my own, surrounded by police. With there's another DJ he's called Robbie Doherty. He was standing there with me, like making sure I was all right. What they said to me was, we're going to search the whole booth, the bags, everyone's coats, everything. If we find drugs, you're going to come with us to the station. I didn't have anything on me. I was just standing there. I was like, you've got the wrong guy. I kept saying, I was like, I'm not the guy. So I'm standing there while they're going through all of these people's bags in the booth. And I was like, fucking shit. Like, if they find anything, I'm going to spend the night in a cell on the Isle of Man. And luckily they didn't find anything. And then they were like, fine, we'll just let you go. And I was like, well, what the fuck was all that for? You've just ruined my gig. Everyone had gone. So then the police left and just left me and this other DJ standing there. And I was like, where's the promoter? I don't know where I'm staying. What do I do now? And then like 10 minutes later, the promoter comes running back in the club. He's like, mate, I had so many bits on me. Like, I had so much stuff. I had to get out of there. He said, don't worry. I've told everyone to come to my house. He had like a club in his house. We had a mad after party in his house till like 6 a.m. And it ended up being a really good night. But yeah, it sort of ruined the club. But he had prepared this amazing after party. So
You got to find that fucking guy in the bathroom.
yeah, I know. I don't know what his name was. He was just some random little dude, little DJ. But yeah, he really, really fucked up, got me in trouble. So I was shitting myself.
Would you say that was one of the worst experiences you've had?
Oh no, we've had some bad experiences. I've got an experience that definitely isn't suitable for talking about here. Yeah, I think my mum would kill me.
You got to respect the mother.
You've got to respect my mum, but it was in Mexico is all I'll say. And it involved a drug dealer, and it was not for him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I've had my fair share of Mexican experiences as well.
Oh, we were
Something always happens in Mexico.
We were in like a Mexican standoff. It was pretty wild.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. But we'll save that for another time. That can be on the outtakes.
There you fucking have it, guys. Well, yo, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a time. I am literally about to piss my pants.
Nice. You're drinking enough water. Nice.
Yeah, I drank the 2 beers, but
Love that. Yeah.
great fucking time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.
Amazing.